So
I made some more stuff too. It sounds great.
Wow. Some of Eric's recent Toastmaster highlights include the 2015 District International Speech Champion, yay. The finalist in the 2015 World Champion of Public Speaking, I was there, it was awesome. 6-time District 30 International and Humorous Speech Contest finalist, yes he was. Fun facts about Eric. Likes to golf, but not sure why. He and his wife have a cat named Jingles. Has 3 tax deductions named Rachel, which is 8 years old, Ben, who is 5, and Kevin, who is 2. Please help me welcome our District 30 reigning international speech champion, Eric Feinendegen.
Thank you so much, Greg, for that wonderful introduction. And I have to admit, the last year for me has been an absolute whirlwind. I've had the opportunity to speak at some of the most exciting and exotic locations, literally around the world. So last May, I had the opportunity to fly across the pond and speak in historic Dublin, Ireland. And then, of course, last August, in the finals, I flew out to Sin City and spoke in the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. But now, finally, the cherry on the sundae. South Division, Broadview, Illinois, baby! So we're gonna have some fun here this morning. Oh, let me correct myself. Pat, we're gonna have some sexy fun. You know it. And speaking of sexy fun, let me take you back to Las Vegas. August 13th, 2015. I had just been named winner of semifinal number 6 to qualify for the World Championship of Public Speaking. I had outlasted 35,000 contestants from 14,625 clubs spanning 126 countries from around the world. They handed me my first place semifinal trophy, and I was whisked away by security through hundreds and hundreds of screaming Toastmasters. They brought me into the depths of the Caesars Palace Hotel, into the public relations room, where I was about to give, for my first time ever, a live interview and photo shoot. And I knew that my life, from that moment forward, would never be the same. I turned to my beautiful wife and I said, in your wildest dreams, did you ever think I'd make it to the big stage? She looked at me and she said, honey, what makes you think you're in my wildest dreams? Now you know why I carry around a card that says, yes you can. Thank you once again for having me. That is my message for you this morning. That anything that you want to do in your life, or anybody that you want to become, I'm here to tell you, yes you can. So we're going to go on a journey together this morning over the next 40 to 45 minutes, a journey that's going to lead to positive change. So as with any journey, we need to have a starting point. So I'm going to ask you to take out a pen and paper, if you have one. I'm going to have you write down 3 things. Number 1, a goal that you want to achieve in your life, or a change that you'd like to make. It could be something inside of Toastmasters. You want to be a better leader or communicator, or out. You want to get that promotion at work. You want to have a more positive attitude, have a stronger family unit, whatever it may be. Number 2, jot down a significant failure, disappointment, or setback that you've had in your life. So number 2, jot down a significant failure, disappointment, or setback that you've had in your life. The bigger, the better. And number 3, what gives you joy? What makes you happy on the inside? Now we're going to take a couple minutes to think about this. This is just for you. We will not be sharing this, but it is important. So we're going to take a couple minutes. While we're doing that, enjoy a little Michael Jackson.
Gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collarbone, my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street, but not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? I saw us disregard a broken bottle top and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the window, 'cause they got nowhere to go. And the point I want you to know, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message coming.
All right, and again, that is just for you, but we will be coming back to those. So it was 2 weeks after I came back from the convention. I'm sitting in my basement with a longtime friend of mine named Ken Clancy, watching some football. It got to be about halftime. He turns to me and he says, "Eric, do you mind if we watch your speech from the finals?" I said, "Kenny, I never thought you'd ask." We popped in the DVD. 7 minutes and 21 seconds later, he turns to me and he says, "Not bad. I could never do that." It was at that moment that the words of distinguished Toastmaster G. McDonald popped in my head, and I thought, Kenny, you need a checkup from the neck up. But you know what? We all do from time to time. So if you would, turn to your neighbor and say, "Yes, you can."
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Turn to your other neighbor and say, "Yes, you can."
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, Frank.
Yes, you can. Because you see, yes, you can. Come on. There's no maybe not, at least not this keynote.
Except the offers.
Because like Kenny, we're born for greatness. But we're conditioned for failure. And that quote resonated with me, so I did a little research on it, and I was shocked at what I found. A study was done by Reuters, claiming that for every positive news story that we hear, we are subjected to 17 negative stories. 17!
Wow.
I couldn't believe it, right? So I went on to CNN.com. I went to Yahoo.com. And you know what? It's true. The only positive news story I could find was that the Kardashians may be off the air. Everything else was negative. Ran across another study that by the time we hit the tender age of 5, we are told no or no you cannot over 40,000 times. Now, it's no wonder 1 in 10 Americans are on antidepressants. I have 2 more questions for you. One easy, one not so easy. Question number 1, raise your hand if you've ever been told no or no you cannot do something before. Now, the difficult question. Think to yourself, did you believe it?
Yes.
Because most, if not all, high achievers, they choose to listen to their inner voice that says, yes, you can. You may have seen these before, but they're worth repeating. Oprah Winfrey was told, you're not fit for television. Walt Disney was told, you lack imagination. J.K. Rowling, author of the Harry Potter series, was told, go get a day job. You will never make any money writing children's books. All three made the billionaires list. Steve Jobs says it best when he says, don't let the noise of other people's opinions drown out your inner voice. The inner voice that is telling you, yes, you can. So the question is this, how? How do we make the inner voice inside of us scream loud and proud, yes, you can? The only way is through empowerment. The only way to achieve sustainable and long-lasting success is to empower ourselves from the inside. So this morning, I'm going to share with you my 3 P's to empowerment. P number 1, progress is a process. Number 2, the power of perception. And number 3, positivity. So the first 3, progress is a process. I know it's a Saturday morning. We've had a lot of sexy going on already. So we need to clear our minds to be ready to receive. Man, I need to take you with all my presentations. You're giving me some unbelievable stuff here. All right, if you would, sit at the edge of your chairs. We're going to take 2 deep breaths to clear our minds. Back straight. Deep breath in. Hold for a 2 count. Deep breath out. Does that feel good? Deep breath in. Hold for a 2 count. Deep breath out. All right, good stuff. Progress is a process. Anyone here know who Sean Foley is? Anybody? The name ring a bell with anyone? No golf fans? All right. Sean Foley was Tiger Woods' swing coach for 4 years. And in 2013, working together, Tiger Woods won 5 times on tour. And that year was named PGA Player of the Year. So the Golf Channel decided to do an interview with Sean to talk about Tiger Woods' process. And the first thing that Sean Foley said was this, that whether you're a golfer trying to lower your handicap, or someone simply trying to be more successful in life, he said everybody wants the result, but most people are not willing to commit to the process. Then he went and talked about Tiger Woods' process, which is waking up every morning at 4:30 a.m. and spending the first 2 hours of every day on the driving range hitting golf balls. Then he comes in and has the same breakfast every morning. Then he'll go out and play 3 to 4 rounds of golf. Comes back in and has the same lunch every day. Then he'll do cardio. Then he'll do weight training. Then he goes back out and works on his sand game, his putting, his chipping, then his driving. Comes back in and has the same dinner every night. Then he'll go back out and spend another 1 or 2 hours on the driving range. Come back in, he'll do visualization techniques, and then he'll watch film. And then he goes to bed. And starts that process over and over again, day after day after day. That is why Tiger Woods is a 14-time major champion. So I'm in the financial services industry, as Greggy mentioned. And I get this all the time. Eric, I want to retire, but with a great lifestyle. I say, perfect. Step number 1 is you have a goal. But here's step number 2. Are you willing to commit to a process? And I'll explain to them that in the average lifespan, about 80 years, you're going to have 9,000 down days. 9,000 days where you will lose money. You're going to have to suffer through 13 recessions. You're going to have to get through 20 bear markets and countless number of market corrections to obtain the lifestyle that you seek. Most people jump ship. Most people are not willing to commit to that long-term process. And that is why we have a retirement epidemic in this country of people working in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, whether they want to or not. So the number 1 question I got when I returned from Las Vegas was this. How'd you do it? How were you finally able to break through? What's your secret? My secret is this. 12 years ago, I committed to a process. I'm going to share that with you right now. It was 2004. I was attending a local Chamber of Commerce meeting. Everyone had a chance to stand and talk about the product or service they represented. And afterward, a woman came up to me and she said, "Have you ever heard of Toastmasters?" No, I heard of it, but I didn't give it much thought. She said, "It really puts the icing on the cake when it comes to your public speaking." Now I'm here to share with you, that's her nice way of saying to me, you need help. Greg will tell you, he's known me for a while. I did. I wasn't very good. So the next week I went to my first Toastmasters meeting, signed on the dotted line, and I committed to my process, which is 3 things. Number 1, I committed to being the best speaker that I could be. And in order to do that, I needed a goal. And that goal was to make it to the world stage. Number 2, I told myself I would never miss a meeting. And in close to 12 years, I can count on one hand how many meetings I've missed. 3 due to the birth of my children. And I had to fight my wife over those too. And step number 3, I know I needed to fail. And fail a lot. And that's exactly what I did. Because it took me 11 and a half years. 51 contests. I'll repeat, 51 contests. 3 clubs, 6 trips to district, and my good friend Greg Thompson not competing against me last year. Thank you, Greg. For me to get one district title. But here's the catch. My process wasn't over. Because 2 weeks after I won district, I got an email from the 2001 world champion of public speaking, Darren LaCroix. And he said, "Eric, congratulations, but I got news for you. Your work's just now getting started." And I needed to recommit myself to my process. So for those 4 months last summer, that's exactly what I did. Day after day, night after night, I practiced and rehearsed those 2 speeches. I went out and I got a speech coach. I got a vocal coach. I got a thinking coach. I got a humor coach. I got a body language coach. And fortunately for me, I have a very understanding wife. But after 11 and a half years, with no guarantee of success, my process finally paid off. And I reached the world stage, my big moment. Let's take a look at my big moment.
I'll give you 40 guesses who won this.
Now, we think that voice is Ethel's, but we can't verify it.
You didn't show the funny part.
Next presentation. All right, real quick. I am the only Toastmaster in the history of this 91-year organization to ever win both 3rd place and 1st place in a semifinal. What happened was they had announced me as the 3rd place winner, but they had it upside down. So, yeah, we'll get to Steve, trust me. So you can imagine not only the confusion, but the disappointment I walked up there, and then he said, "Wait a second.
Oh, Steve Harvey.
Let me take that back from you." So I'm thinking, wait a second, hold on. I need my big moment. Third place or not, come on. So they brought out the third place winner, and then the second place winner, and then me. So, needless to say, I'm glad they had it wrong the first time. Thank you for doing that. Yeah. Trust me, it's on the on-demand video, so.
My next door neighbors almost called the police. They screamed so loud.
So I share that video to share this. You commit to a process. In anything that you want to do in your life, you can achieve it. You too will have your big moments. So now the question I get is this: Eric, you were so close to the World Championship last year. How come you're not competing this year? My answer is always the same. I can't afford the divorce. Craig Valentine, who Valerie knows well, the 1999 World Champion of Public Speaking, says wisdom comes from reflection. So we're going to take a couple of minutes to reflect. I had you write down a goal that you want to achieve in your life or a change you'd like to make. Let's think back about what we talked about and how you can implement a process in your life to get you closer to that goal or that change that you'd like to make. Next P, the power of perception. So this is one of my all-time favorite images. Take a good look at it, if you would. What is it that you see? Anybody?
Two people.
All right, to repeat that again?
Two people.
All right, answer number one is two people. Anyone see anything else?
Face.
There we go. Base, I heard something else? Candle holder? Okay. Some of the other responses I've gotten in the past, bird bath, yes, candle, chalice, the contestants I'm working with, first place trophy. But you know what? A little bit of a stretch, but we'll go with it, right? The point is this: one image, two realities. That's the power of perception. Steve Siebold, who makes over $1 million a year just in speaking fees, says it best, that we create our own reality based on how we choose to see the world. So this morning, I'm going to ask you to choose to make a change. I'm going to ask you to change the way that you look at failure. Because most people fear failure. I'm going to ask you to look at it as a gift, as your friend. Because my personal philosophy is this: you fail enough times, success will take care of itself. Let me share with you what I mean. Think back to a relationship or relationships that you have had in your life that quote-unquote have failed. I can see some of you smirking. Now, imagine if you're still with that person. We'd all be on antidepressants. In that situation, failure was a gift. According to NASA, a rocket on its way to the moon is off course 90% of the time. It literally fails its way to success. It simply does a series of autocorrections to get itself to its destination. So I'm going to suggest something to you. I'm not stating it, this is merely a suggestion. If you are not where you want to be in your life, so if you're not where you want to be in your life, it could be one of two things. You simply have not failed enough, or two, you haven't completed your autocorrection process. Something to think about on the way home. So people that know me well know that I love sports. I'm a sports junkie, and I'm also a numbers guy. So I have two more examples to prove this point. Kobe Bryant, who plays for the Los Angeles Lakers, is a 5-time NBA champion. He's retiring this year. And he's going to retire number 3 all-time in most points scored in the history of the NBA. What most people don't realize is Kobe Bryant is also number 1 in most shots missed in the history of the NBA. Kobe Bryant literally failed his way into the Hall of Fame. Another example, local guy, Sammy Sosa. Slammin' Sammy, right? He finished his career, and he currently stands number 8 all time in most home runs hit in the history of Major League Baseball. He's also number 4 all time in total number of strikeouts in the history of Major League Baseball. Yet another example of someone who has failed his way to success. Another point I'd like you to consider: you are the master of your mind. Your mind is not your master. So those words rang true for me also during my trip to the semifinals. Let me introduce you to a longtime Toastmaster out of Gilbert, Arizona, named Michael Desiderio, district number 3. Now, before I met Michael, I thought I was the biggest loser in all of Toastmasters, which, as we know, is not a bad thing. So it was 3 hours before I was about to take the stage in semifinal number 6. I'm standing next to Michael Desiderio, who's also competing. I'm speaker number 7, Michael's speaker number 10. So we're going to do the sound check, and I turn to him and I say, Michael, I've got to admit, I'm a little bit nervous here. This is my very first time to the semifinals. Have you been here before? He got a big smile on his face and he said, yes, Eric, actually I have. 7 times before. This was his 8th trip to the semifinals. So I said, Michael, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how many times have you made it to the finals? The The smile left his face. And he said, I haven't. Yet. But then he went on to say this, that each time he starts a contest journey, he forms relationships that empower him in his life. And every time that he takes that stage, he becomes a better speaker. And every time he quote unquote fails to make it to the finals, he gets a little bit closer and a little bit closer each time. Michael Desiderio is the master of his mind. And he is proof of the power of perception. That he uses his mind to empower himself rather than to prevent himself. That, again, is the power of perception. Now, Michael Desiderio took third in my semifinal, but I'm putting my money on him. He'll be back again. Another quote I want you to consider. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefits. So as we reflect, I'd like you to think about that quote from Napoleon Hill. I ask you to write down a significant failure, disappointment, or setback that you've incurred. And rather than viewing it as a failure, let's change our perception. What lessons did we learn from that heartache? How can we use that to catapult us on our next journey towards success? I'll give you a couple of minutes. Positivity. You like that? Yeah. Now I made this joke at the last session. I'm just going to say it again to see what kind of response I get. So the guy in the yellow is our recent division contest winners. The people in the blue are everyone that didn't take first place. All right, that's a little bit better response then. It didn't go. It kind of hit a nerve at the last session, but again, like I say, I'm the biggest loser in Toastmasters, so I can say that.
You're all the runners up.
Yeah, there you go. Appreciate that, Jerry. All right, good stuff. Positivity. So this past January, I had the opportunity to go to Laugh Factory in Chicago. And I was able to listen to an inspirational keynote by legendary comedian Tom Dreesen. Now, if you're not familiar with Tom, he has a great pedigree. He opened up for Frank Sinatra for 14 years. He has over 500 network TV appearances, and he guest hosted the Johnny Carson show 45 times. Yeah, so he shared some great stuff. But the number one thing he focused on was this, that the greatest gift that we can give ourselves is the gift of a sense of humor. Because that will empower us. And he said the best way to develop that gift is to laugh at least 10 times a day. But more important than that, see, there you go. You're laughing already. But more important than that is to laugh at ourselves twice a day. And he went on to explain this. Things are going to happen. Life is not always going to go your way. No matter how much you prepare or get ready for something, things will arise sometimes. And to become empowered, we need to have a healthy perspective, and laughter can provide that. So I'm going to share with you a video of the absolute best golfers in the world not having their best day. And you'll see firsthand why sometimes the best thing to do is simply to laugh. Let's take a look.
You've got to start with the air screens. It's a professional golfer. This is Lee Westwood. Oh, you're Next move, the dust chip. This is from so this is Richard Lee at the Players' Championship. So then you go, oh, look, I'll get the putter out. Much better. Number 3. This is when you have the yips. I'll just pump that one back in. This one, no worries about it. Just angry. It is. Yeah, look, he was not lucky enough to become like this. Number 2. And now, top 5. The ricochet can be particularly nasty. Just ask for old Brett. That's a great 3. Even more painful for Chichi Rodriguez. Bang, ricochet. Woody Austin attempting the miracles shot. It's really good.
All right. So now you know why it says in my bio that I love golf. I'm just not sure why. But a couple quick things. The second clip of the gentleman who missed the ball and looked at the tree like it was the tree's fault, that was Lee Westwood. He was the #1 golfer in the world when it happened. And I don't know if you saw what happened yesterday to poor Ernie Els.
No.
Yeah, they changed it to a 9 for some technical reason, but he missed a putt this far from the hole 7 times. 7 times. You have to see it to believe it. Google Ernie Els Masters. It's bad.
The first hole, on the first hole.
On the very first hole. Not a good way to start a major championship. So, I wrote into Ernie's press people and said, hey, you need to go call Tom Dreesen. So you need to laugh at yourself. So the next time you're having a bad day, remember that clip. All right, I got one more story for you. I'm going to do some reflection, and then I'll do my close. So as you know, it took me 11 and a half years to finally win district. And I gotta tell you, I was so happy. As you can see, I was glowing. So 2 weeks after I won district, I took a business trip out to Dublin, Ireland. And if you're ever in that area, you have to go see my good friends at Viking Voices Toastmasters. Some of the friendliest, most hospitable people, I'm telling you will ever want to meet. And they welcomed me with open arms, and they agreed to give me an evaluation on my gift from Grammy speech, my speech from district. So with the same passion, enthusiasm, and excitement, that I gave that speech at district, I gave it to my good friends at Viking Voices, and they loved it. They gave me a wonderful evaluation and feedback. And as a matter of fact, they loved it so much, they actually baked me a good luck cake. My favorite, vanilla and strawberries. But then they said, Eric, if you really want to guarantee yourself the gift of eloquence, go out and kiss the Blarney Stone. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I drove out to the Blarney Castle, and I not only kissed that stone, I made out with that stone like a teenager on first dates.
All right.
That's pretty sexy back then. Amen. Because I'm gonna tell you, I got the Blarney lips to prove it. Things were going fantastic for me. I was flying high until I came back to the USA and I crashed like a bug hitting a windshield. Let me introduce you to Old Bill.
Oh.
Now, if you're not familiar with Old Bill, let me give you a little background. Rumor had it, or has it, that he holds ancient secrets when it comes to the art of storytelling and public speaking. I was told that he watches at least 10 TED Talks a day. I was also told that he helped two other District 30 international speech champions become the world champion of public speaking, win the whole thing. So I couldn't wait to go see Old Bill and get his evaluation. So I sought him out. And I set up a time, and I couldn't wait to go see him. So with the same passion, enthusiasm, and excitement that I gave that kid from Grammy speech at district, and I gave out in Dublin, I delivered it to Old Bill. And I couldn't wait for his feedback. And this is what he gave me. He didn't feel connected to either of my characters. My foundational phrase was meaningless. He didn't learn anything he could use in his life. There was no plot, no theme, and no epiphany. The speech made absolutely no impact. The premise was too fuzzy. My content was too weak, simply cliches, slogans, and filled with fragile humor. And oh yeah, speech did not stand out. If that wasn't enough, he said, Eric, you have no hope of winning. Your grade is less than a D. Sure glad I went on that evaluation.
Yeah.
I was devastated.
Did me the same way.
As a matter of fact, I felt so bad, Valerie. I felt worse than this guy. Well, maybe not as bad as Steve Harvey announcing about Miss International winner. I was crushed. And I took that speech, and I threw it in the trash. And for the next 5 weeks, I wrote new speech after new speech after new speech. 3 hours a night, every night. And I took those speeches to different clubs around the district to practice them. Nothing was working. I finally had a level of despair. I turned to distinguished Toastmaster Jeff Stein. I said, Jeff, I don't know what to do. He told me 2 words. Reach out. To the 2013 World Champion in Public Speaking, our very own District 30, President Stilev, who also, on his journey, went to go see Old Bill. So I emailed Prez and told him what happened. This is what he emailed me back. He told him the same thing. But then Prez told me, don't lose hope. Keep crafting. But most important, follow your heart. What he was telling me was, listen to your inner voice. The inner voice that is telling you, yes, you can. So I took that speech out of the trash, dusted it off, and took it with me to Las Vegas. That's the speech that put me on the world stage. And for the record, that speech has never lost in competition. Now I share that story to make this point. I firmly believe that Old Bill had my best intentions in mind. He's a good man, and I did learn a lot from Old Bill. But that being said, we have a responsibility to ourselves, both inside of Toastmasters and out, to filter the evaluations and the feedback that we receive to empower us, not prevent us, and to keep us positive. So let's reflect. I ask you to write down what gives you joy in your life, what makes you happy. I'm also going to ask you to continue to find ways to cultivate that joy and to spread it to those around you. And if you're not feeling that joy, consider what I did. Reaching out to a mentor, leaders in the district, people that can make you more positive. Or, in some cases, you need to separate yourself from people that are keeping you from being positive. And I can't stress it enough. When things don't go your way, please remember the advice of Tom Dreesen. We need to laugh 10 times a day and laugh at ourselves twice a day. It comes back to the same thing, empowerment. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Here's my close. Quick recap. 3 P's of empowerment. Progress is a process. There's power in perception, and positivity. So as you can see here, these are the final 10 contestants in the 2015 World Championship of Public Speaking. You can see on there in the middle, I'm standing next to eventual winner, Mohammed Khatani from Saudi Arabia. So that was our contestants briefing. We drew speaking order, went over the rules and regulations. And after that, the 2003 world champion in public speaking, Jim Key, came into the room and shared some inspirational messages with us, and each handed us a letter. I took that letter with me, went back to my hotel room, placed it on the bed, and then I met the other 9 contestants in the main ballroom of the Caesars Palace Hotel for the sound check. When it came time for me to go up and do my sound check, I stepped up on that stage, and I will admit, doubts began to flood my brain. The stage was the size of an aircraft carrier. There were 2 football-sized jumbotrons on either side, and all I could see was a sea of close to 3,000 seats that were going to be filled in less than 24 hours with people from all around the world. So I was doing my sound check, and my voice began to tremble. And the guy working the sound, because my voice was trembling so much, he actually thought there was something wrong with the microphone. And I stepped off that stage, filled with self-doubt. So I went back to my hotel room and picked up the letter from Jim Key. Before I picked up that letter, I was seriously thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But the words on this letter allowed my voice to say, Eric, yes you can. I share those words with you now. To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream. Not only plan, but also believe. Those words allowed me to take that world stage that next day and share a message that had been in my heart with the rest of the world. A message that had been brewing for a long time. As you continue on your journey, and you climb your mountain, please remember that it's not the mountain that we conquer, but ourselves. Because when we conquer ourselves, that voice inside of you is going to scream loud, and it's going to scream proud. Yes, you can. Say it with me. Yes, you can. Say it with me.
Yes, you can.
Say it with me.
Yes, you can.
Greg, thank you.